Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Evotel podcast. My name is Jonathan, and today I was very bored. So I decided that we need to talk about a bit of a hot topic in our some of our networks these days. So I decided to bring Martins along. And whenever Martins is around, we know we're talking support. Hi, Martins. How are you today?
Hi, Jonathan. Thanks for inviting me. Great to see you again.
Always good to have you. I mean, well, it would be better if I saw less of you because that meant that we didn't need to fix things. However, sometimes things go wrong. And currently, one of our networks is experiencing quite a lot of trouble. Our Newcastle network has been, shall we say, dug up by the local municipality recently. And I thought that this, and it's causing a lot of frustrations in one of their suburbs. Don't get me wrong, the municipality, as I understand it, they're doing an upgrade to the water infrastructure in the area, correct?
Breakages.
Thank you, South African municipalities. However, that does pose specific problems for our fiber network. And I thought that this would be a really good opportunity for us to sort of discuss what it is that why the municipality is a problem for us, why it, like what the damage is, what damage gets done, and how we're able to resolve it afterwards. So I just kind of wanted to start off with, when we talk about a municipal break in the area, what are we saying to the clients at the time?
So basically, a municipal break, Jonathan, is when the contractors at the municipal hire to dig up the pipes and repair the pipes when there's a water burst, or for instance, upgrading the infrastructure. They will naturally have to dig about 900 millimeters, maybe a little bit more, touch and go, depending on that.
Mhm.
And they would use the TLB for quick access.
I'm going to cut you off there quickly. What is a TLB?
A TLB is the machinery that they use, right? Which is big machineries with a big duct hole in front that will go into the ground. And
like an excavator.
Basically like an excavator, but just in front side, right? So basically what will happen is our lines will lie on top of these water pipes, stuff like that. You know, when it comes to planning and stuff like that, sometimes you need to find space where the space is, and at that point of time, the space would be on top of the water lines. So when they do repair this, they will dig into it, and naturally our cables at 600 millimeters down, trench down, would then be in the way, and they would pull these cables. And when they pull these cables, it's basically that's when the trouble starts happening. So it's either snapping or we start pulling infrastructure along the road.
I'm gonna pump your brakes there. We're gonna get there in a second, because literally what comes next here that I wanted to query you about is why a TLB causes that damage and how far this damage can go. Because sure, if they're digging on the corner of Piet Pompey Street and Sarimare Street, cool, but why are streets 10 kilometers away still affected? What happens when that TLB hits our line?
Well, one thing to remember on what we call a DC, our distribution routes, is that everybody is connected in some way, running to the same fiber eventually, right? So this is why the TLB will be installed Plaatjiestraat, or for Newcastle, for instance, in Parkit Street. And then we get people down within Lillian Park, stuff like that, because the DC routes are all connected, and they all eventually need to come to the same feeder cable. And when they are digging up these lines, are breaking the line, they're breaking that interruption, like a route that was basically running past Parkit Street to Lillian Park, for instance, and breaking it down. Since it would be there, but unfortunately the route is running past there, so it's on the same fiber line.
And just remind us again, what is fiber made out of?
Fiber is made out of fiber, and it's basically just it's a type of glass that conducts light very well, it keeps light very well, and it conducts very well, and that's why we're using the fiber. And then obviously around the fiber it's a cladding which is made out of foil and plastic and stuff like that that protects the fiber itself.
So the fiber's safe, it's just a TLB is a TLB.
Yeah, exactly, right? So fiber is extremely strong. Don't get us wrong, it's a very strong substance. There has been cases where we've pulled in 100 meters of roots and it didn't cause any damages, right? So fiber is extremely strong. But unfortunately, it is all depending on the force that it's pulling. And it's as well as we've got manholes for customers to connect from the home drop. The home drop will be the customer's installation, and we've got access points where they are connected to. And that's what everything will be pulled along with this infrastructure. That's why they're breaking off. because that in between little splitters and stuff to split the fiber.
So am I correct in saying it's almost like a spider web where like if you hit one part, everything falls?
Everything. So it's the exact same project, right? There is slacks and stuff inside our main holes that should be covering of it, but obviously now with a slack there, it's being pulled, it bends the fiber itself, and then depending how the fiber was laying at that point of time, it will physically bend it and break.
Yeah. Well, since TLBs exist and in Newcastle, because there's all these heavy things, I understand we've done some upgrades to sort of like reinforce the network. What have we done in order to sort of mitigate, if not completely prevent? Because let's face it, those TLBs, if they need to get where they need to get, they're going to get there. However, what have we done to sort of better protect the network so far?
Look, we can go to a certain spec to try and protect it, but unfortunately our cables are still running and it's still fiber cables on with it, right?
Yes.
But what we've done is we've tried to reinforce our manholes with cement and concrete, so that if a TLB does come past there, that as soon as it hits it, then it realizes, oh, it's actually hitting something, right? And then they will stop to check, as well as when they're trying to change through it, then at least there's some barrier of protection before they break it completely. That TLB will break that reinforcement if they continue. But the main factor is to try and stop it from the first one go, so they realize they're hitting against something.
So basically, it's more of a case of an alarm system rather than a prevention.
Basically, yeah. Look, it does prevent it in some terms. It's been much easier to just dig it up, but now there's something in the way which causes them to stop and look.
Hey, I'm much more of a hope for prepare for the worst, hope for a best kind of guy. So here's hoping that it does in fact stop the TLBs. But that does bring me to sort of very neatly to my next point, the relationship with our municipalities, because obviously Newcastle with this big project, I know that we've been talking with them and stuff like that. But in general, the municipalities and the work they do we work well in conjunction with them? Because we have contractors on site in every town. What's that relationship like in terms of getting these things fixed and over the line?
Basically, from a contractor's perspective, we try to build a relationship first of all with them, try to chat to them, try to get them to warn us when they do see the visit on our fiber routes, to try and prevent it from breaking, rather get there on site with them and try and move it out of the way. And then one of the main reasons for delays on the repairs would be they need to complete what they are doing. One of the biggest issues we do have is it's not always the municipality direct. It's normally a subcontractor with the municipality. So that's that communication gap that's happening on there. They've got work to do. They just continue to do the work. And if it's not well communicated from the municipality, these guys will just finish their work. So we are actively engaging with them so that to try and get that communication open, get onto site with them, see what they are doing, talk to them, building an actual relationship with the subcontractors as well, so that they can warn us pre-hand. So the delay would be from the perspective that they need to finish their work, right? So we can fix it right then and there, but if they're not complete with that, they're going to break the same cable again. And also, obviously, it becomes a very costly exercise. Sometimes delay is caused by them to just complete their work first, rather than having to reinstall with the same fibers to route 3 to 4 times.
Because then it becomes a case of the client is online, the client is offline, the client is online, the client is offline with no end in sight. Well, Martin, that brings me neatly to my next point. In terms of the relationship with the municipality, how have we been working with them, especially in Newcastle, just because the situation is quite tense there, especially in the Avery Hill suburb? What's been going on there in terms of the communication between us and the municipality?
At the point of time, we are building quite a great relationship with them, getting through the hiccup to them, and they are busy, informing us where they can help, where we can help with our cables. So definitely going much, much better, and we are definitely improving day by day with that relationship.
And so basically, we've got some hiccups. Things aren't going to get better perfectly immediately, right? This is going to be a bit of a process that we're working through here.
Right. So with the amount of digging up there, right, it's quite a process. It's quite a stressful process for us as well to try and get the clients up as close as possible. But unfortunately, that route has been damaged on multiple sites, multiple places. So what the current point of time, what we are doing is, due to the amount of damages, as we repair clients, we're dropping new clients and trying to prevent this from happening. So we systematically are fixing the distribution routes section by section, street by street. to get everybody connected as we go. And unfortunately, there's a lengthy process. There's a lot of changing that needs to happen. Weather plays a role as well. You know, unfortunately, we cannot fix when it's raining hard, stuff like that. It does delay the whole process of it. But we are actively repairing certain sections. We have a lot of clients that has returned. Unfortunately, we still have some clients that are in the dark there that we're struggling to get up, but we are working actively on it.
However, in terms of our support department, what can they do to get news to you, Martins, as quickly as possible?
Well, our support line should know our telephone number by now, our ticket system by now. I would suggest you reporting first thing. I know if they start the digging, anything like that, seeing excavator digging in front of their house, that type of thing at TRB, to report it towards us. You know, eyes everywhere is always a great thing. Sometimes we would know already about it, but we appreciate it. And just that reporting, and maybe take a photo or two, send it through to our ticketing system. That gives us a clear indication where to go rather than to start searching for where the issues are.
And hey, guys, you get given to all our listeners, you do get given a subject line on what the problem is. Feel free to type in, "I think this is excavation." Martins and them will catch the drift very quickly. This applies to all of our networks, whether you're aerial or trenched. If you see municipal workers in the area, please reach out to us. We will happily rather have a technician drive past to check to see if something's wrong than have you guys drop. But from my side, Martins, thank you so much for joining me today. But if you guys could keep the network as stable as you have outside of Newcastle, that would be great, because then I don't have to see you as much.
Try our best, Jonathan, and we try our best.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go back to being slightly more bored because this was very interesting. Thank you, guys. Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday. Martin. Peace out.